Yeah, thank you very much for that commentation. Are there any remarks concerning that or question concerning Indradeep first and then in the back?
If you can elaborate a little bit more, Dr. Walden, about your current activity on the solar forecasting development jointly with NIWE.
Yeah, I already gave a short introduction as an answer to a question. So actually, it's a team of German and Indian companies who gives training to a team at NIWE of researchers and developers and everything, with the goal, exactly what Dr. Katyal said, to finally have an Indian-based forecasting model, which introduces all the Indian-specific things like soiling of the PV panels and humidity, which is of course totally different from Europe and the US and Australia and other countries where all these models have been developed. And as I said, also taking into account local NWP models and all the knowledge which is there already. Of course, we don't have to reinvent things which are already known. Maybe they must just be channelized by selecting things and taking some advice from ideas we have, and together with all the knowledge which is at NIWE and other institutions, of course, in India, I think, yeah, we really can reach something which is Indian-specific and gives good accuracy for the Indian situation for PV, both on the grid side and for the single PV farm.
Yeah, thank you very much. There was one question in the back.
Yeah, hi, this is Ashish from ICF. I have a slightly different question. I mean, it's related to cost. I mean, how much extra cost would it be for the developers or on the system, you know, while they're implementing the forecasting process? I mean, how much their capital cost or OPEX would change? I mean, what cost is to be borne by the system operator and what by the power plant developer? So how does that change the overall, how does that impact the overall cost of the plant? I just want to understand that a little bit.
If you like, please. The mic is coming.
As an aggregator forecaster for 8,000 megawatt of wind installations in Tamil Nadu, I have learned something which I would like to share with the audience and the experts on the dais. The cost involved in capital expenditure as well as the yearly expenditure is negligibly small. It's enough if the wind generators have the intention to cooperate with the SLDC, the system operator, to get the best out of the windmills generation. I have experience of past so many years from 2010 to 2017. Let me just share with you. From 2012, when there was the best of generation, thanks to Tanjitco, their personal capability, they gave us the best of generation. From 2012 to 2015, even though number of windmills generating were slowly increasing, the total generation evacuated or absorbed by the system came down year after year. And every year we were incurring a loss, something like 5 billion units, 5 billion units. And we thought on our own, voluntarily, we wanted to come forward and we asked the utility for giving us an opportunity to doing it at our cost, capital expenditure and the yearly expenditure. They permitted finally. And we installed, as he said, meters on the output side, HT side, and gave the information, took NIWE into confidence. They were forecasting for us. And the expenditure was negligibly small. And yearly, for the past 2 years, we collect from our members the very little money, not even 1% of the value of generation every year, might be even up to 3%. We are able to achieve phenomenal results. The evacuation that was at the level of 7 megawatts came to 11 megawatts next year, and then 13 megawatts the very next year, almost doubling the evacuation. So phenomenal was the results. So I would like to share with the wind generators and other experts in the audience that it costs very little to on capital expenditure and real expenditure. It's worth the expenditure, and we get, it is something like you sow a little in the farmer's field and you reap the big harvest. That's what we have done.
That's correct.
Yeah, good point. Thank you. So, final questions concerning this session, for the whole session, so there are questions allowed, of course, to everything in the back, yeah? Sorry, not to everything, but only to the talks.
Good afternoon. I would like to thank the panel for their interesting session. My question is for Mr. Walden. In one of the slides, sir, you had mentioned that you set points for curtailment during wind energy prediction. I want to know, how do you set the point for curtailment? Because there are so many policy issues, and the, the demand of the demand and regulation involved in that. So as a wind power predictor, how do you factor in all these issues and then, set a point for curtailment of wind energy? Thank you.
Yeah, so as a predictor, of course, we don't set it, but we want to get it. So that's the most important thing, that if we make predictions for a single farm or for the grid operator, then it's important to have the data flow in real time about the set points. And that's not always the case, yeah, because it's also data which is incomplete and not perfect. We try to get this information from the control center or from the wind farm. But if we don't get it, then we try to guess by making an estimation of the power which the wind farm could have produced at the moment, and by a not too simple model, let's say, and then a scaling up of the power, and then trying to figure out was the situation with a drop in power due to wind speed, or is it a drop in power due to curtailment, which was not registered in the SCADA system, or which was not given to us from the grid operator. So the perfect world, again, would be to get it from the wind farm operator or from the grid operator, but in some cases it doesn't work. And then we are trying to have some fallback methods to not to disturb our data too much. That's basically the idea. So again, if the best prediction can be made if all this information is available in real time to the forecast provider.
Yeah, thank you.
Curtailment is not, I believe, in my opinion, is not intentional. It's very easy to manage the load and generation together when the generation is mostly from either hydro or from conventional sources, which give constant level of generation all the while. While the load is fluctuating, the generation will almost be constant. In wind and solar, it is intermittent, ever changing, now very difficult to predict. When there is no forecast, the system operator is in great difficulties. Whether it is willingly or unwillingly, Possibly he makes mistakes also, knowing that he is making mistakes. So it's better to have a candle in a dark room. The forecasting is like a candle in a dark room. It gives the lighting so that system operator is able to see how much wind is coming tomorrow. And he is able to adjust his generation, putting together of various forms of generation so that he absorbs more of intermittent wind and solar also. It is more because of lack of forecasting or inaccuracies of forecasting. They don't willfully do it. That's my observation.
That's certainly true, yes. Final question, because we are a little bit over time already. If that's not the case, then again, I would like very much to thank all the presenters of this very good session. Of course, thank all the audience contributions. We have many very good and interesting questions. The discussion was, I think, very interesting. So a lot of stuff for the future to discuss further. And thank you very much and enjoy your meal.